I very firmly believe if you're given a dream, like you are meant for your dreams, and it is up to you to fight for your dreams over your limitations.
Yeah. The space of uncertainty, of wanting two things, sitting in the duality of like the knowing and the unknown, coming from where you came and where you're going. Like, it is a real time and space in this world right now.
Yes, and like daydreaming is such an important part of this. And so if you're ever like just feeling stuck with like, oh, I don't have the vision, like, okay, great. This is my cue to daydream.
Aloha, this is Reet from Reignite with Reet. I'm sitting here with Jess Johnson, and she is I call her an expert EFT tapper. She just went through a beautiful exercise with me. We dropped into our bodies, and I feel like a whole different version, like of just, I'm here with a friend, and we're friends, and we're just gonna have a conversation and learn about each other, uncover some techniques that may help you and definitely help me.
Awesome.
So welcome, Jess.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I want to just welcome you and introduce what you do.
Sure.
And just kind of, if you want to bring us a little bit of your history, where you found EFT tapping and tapping in general. I know you have a military background, so wherever you feel comfortable, go as far back or as little.
Right.
We're here to chat, and I love it. Let's get into it.
Absolutely. Okay. Where to start? So I'm Jess Johnson, and today I'm calling myself a mind-body connection coach. I've been an entrepreneur and specifically a life coach for 5 years now, a little over 5 years now. And I think oftentimes we can get very twisted up about what that title is and how we explain it. But essentially, I am a coach who helps people understand that mind-body connection. And I help people calm their bodies and quiet their minds so they can get them talking to each other, because oftentimes we feel like heart is telling us one thing, head is telling us another, and that can lead to a lot of overwhelm and lack of clarity. So I help people get those things on the same page.
I love that.
And as for my background, I was a therapist before I pivoted to coaching, and I was a trauma therapist, initially working in corrections, actually. Even before that, my career started in domestic violence, working in a domestic violence hotline and in a sexual assault shelter for survivors, and then working in the detention system. And when I was around 30, I had an early midlife crisis, and I decided to do something crazy and joined the Army. So I joined the Army late. I made the decision at 30, but I didn't get into the Army until 32. So that is when I first left, and I served 5 years as a behavioral health officer. I had a 9-month deployment to Afghanistan, and when I got back from Afghanistan, I was still active duty for another 3 years before I decided to get out specifically to pivot to coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I promise everybody here doesn't have to join the Army to turn their life around. That's not what I'm saying.
Wow. You know what? Like, I know you, but it's you always uncover some new stuff. So you were a therapist first. You joined the Army at 30, 31?
32.
32. And you said it took you how long?
To join the Army?
Yeah,
Well, I commissioned in as an officer. So when I commissioned in very specifically to be a behavioral health officer, I was a licensed clinical social worker. And I think a lot of times people are more familiar with, joining the Army right out of high school, going the enlisted route. But when you go to college first and have a particular craft, then you can direct commission into the military for specific jobs. And for me, I was very fortunate that when I commissioned in, my first duty station was actually here in Hawaii at Tripler Army Medical Center, and my first commander was what we call the consultant of all the social workers, the clinical social workers, active duty, and he really drilled it into my head. Like, you are a soldier first, a clinician second. So even though you are coming into the military and you have like this job to do, like, you have to be able to shoot your weapon, be able to pass and excel at the PT test, be able to carry your gear and all of that stuff. So I really appreciated that I had that lesson from him, because in the military, you are expected to wear multiple hats, because he's right. You are a soldier first, a clinician second. But it was a very rewarding experience, and I didn't think about it at the time, but pivoting my life in that way, I mean, I can do anything now, right? This is essentially now my third career, because my first one was in detention centers, my second one then in the military, and now entrepreneurship.
Wow. And you really look up to this mentor, that he says soldier first and clinician second.
I looked up to that piece of it. That piece of it was a very special lesson for me. And I think that's probably, since, one of the things that I really love to talk about, and I really think I help people hold space for, is like multiple truths existing at once.
Yeah.
And this is kind of one of them. And actually, I'm not even connecting this until like you just asked me that question, but thinking back on that really that was probably the first time, like intentionally and on purpose, it was really like, oh, I do wear these multiple hats. And in the journey in the military in general, for anybody, in order to promote, you do have to be, no matter what your jobs or your skill is, your job title, you're constantly like taking on broadening assignments, like assignments that are totally different from what you do, that have you step out and are exposed to different types of jobs. And that's something I really loved about the military. It really suited me. I think sometimes, I'm also an Army brat, so I grew up in the military. Both my parents served, and my dad did 30 years actually, so we moved around a lot. And I think when you have that experience growing up, you either get like the nomad gene or you get the stability gene. I definitely got one, and my brother got the other. He won't leave Maryland unless he has to, and I do kind of get the itch every 2 to 3 years now. Like, where are we going? What are we doing? And even now that I'm out, my husband's still active duty, and we've been here in Hawaii since 2019, and this is the longest place he's been, and he's had over 20 years in the military since in the last 20 years, and it's the longest I've been anywhere in the last 15 years. So it's been really nice to like kind of feel like we're putting down roots and breathing. And at the same time, I do still have, notice like every 2 to 3 years, there is this kind of weird, like, okay, what's next? Where are we going? And so having a great grounding practice to root you in the present of here and now has been instrumental in me staying in the present moment and being able to just continue living this paradise loving being in this paradise that we live in.
Yeah. So, like you said, when you get that itch to move and you start tapping, what does that do for you?
Well, it allows me to just really pull back. I'm somebody who, I have ADHD, my mind races a million times a minute, and I can often, like a lot of us, just jump to the future tense. And when I give myself that moment and use tapping to bring myself in here, it's more than just kind of closing your eyes and in your mind pulling back, because EFT, when we tap on these points, we are really soothing the central nervous system. And so we're really giving our brains permission to be like, okay, let's settle down in this moment. We're giving our bodies permission to let go of whatever might be driving us either forward or backwards. And just like, okay, but we're here right now, and grounding into the present moment.
And just drops in. That's in the short time I've done this a few times. That's fine. I find I become present. And I could feel my body, right? You start feeling a little scan happening, as opposed to, trying to force it or just like pinpoint. This allows you to be like, okay, here.
Yeah.
Immediately I let out, I'm calmer.
And I guess we'll just dive in and talk about EFT. So
exactly. I wanted to back you up and just kind of, how did you come to EFT?
So The short answer to that was, and I just think these two things are funny to mention. Like, number one, the first time I ever heard of it, I was in Peru. It was 2018, and I was actually coaching a trip it was a group of entrepreneurs, and every couple of years, a woman who's a very good friend of mine, like, leads a group of women entrepreneurs on a kind of humanitarian mission. And so we go someplace, we work with whatever program or organization that we've identified, and we ask them, hey, what do you need? How would we be most beneficial and helpful to you? And then we put together like a series of workshops based on what they tell us our needs are, because we're very big on, we don't know better than you.
Yep.
We're not coming in here from telling you what to do. We're asking you. And at that time, I remember there was another therapist, and she introduced tapping, and I sat in a corner and I was like, that shit looks weird. I'm not touching my face like that, and I would not do it. Fast forward a year later, and I got my dream job running retreats for veterans out in the wilderness. And when I say wilderness, I'm just meaning the sticks of Maryland. We had like cabins and stuff, okay? But we walked in these cabins, and there was like an infestation of wolf spiders. And I have had like pretty crippling arachnophobia my entire life that had actually gotten worse when I got out of the military. And I was in therapy at the time, working on arachnophobia. And so I spent that night, like my first night there, like, oh, my eyes like just open, unable to sleep, like hypervigilant to these spiders all around me. And the next day I was like kind of embarrassed. I don't really embarrass easily. And I told my co-facilitator, like, I really want to be here. This is my dream job, but I'm really struggling with this. And she was like, oh, have you heard of this tapping thing? And I was like, fuck it, I will do anything, right? And she led me through just like a couple of rounds tapping on these points around the body and just acknowledging that I was scared of these spiders, but not trying to push it away, just saying like, yeah, they're there. And I'm acknowledging that, and I accept myself where I'm at right now. And it was so fast. And for somebody who has had like lifelong arachnophobia, and when I talk about arachnophobia, people, even before when I had it and even now, people are like, oh yeah, I don't like spiders either. Oh yeah, they're gross. Would wake up in the middle of the night having dreams about spiders. I've lost count of the numbers of screens I've shattered on phones and iPads, because anytime something moved, my brain was like, it's a spider, and I would hurl it away from me. I would be driving down the Beltway, and because we lived in Maryland at the time, and like I would be like, there's a huntsman spider, and you're like huntsman spiders aren't even in Maryland, right? I've never even seen a huntsman spider. They're in Australia. Like, so it was very profound, and it impacted my life. And the reason why I was in therapy in that moment is because my husband, we were newlyweds at the time, and he is a rock climber, and we were climbing outside, and I was having anxiety attacks every time we went to climb outside, because every climber has a story about a bat, snake, and spider. So it shifted my life, shifted things so quickly. So then I started teaching it to the veterans every day. Then I started getting targeted ads to be certified in something called clinical EFT. And clinical EFT takes even what you and I did, like multiple steps further, where it really goes into targeting the memories that create the beliefs that we operate from now. Beliefs like, I'm not good enough, or I'm not capable, or I'm unlovable. All of us have some flavor of that, no matter, regardless of our
success,
and regardless of our childhoods.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes I see people, and this is a boat that I definitely have fallen in, right? I had an incredible childhood, right? My parents are still together. They love each other very much. Like, we were a great family unit. We moved around, and also we fought. I felt misunderstood. Like, I had undiagnosed ADHD, and none of us knew that, but I was a very sensitive kid. And, so there's like flavors of that for us, regardless of what your background is. Absolutely. Like, that we all have. And so once I started really like doing a deep dive, whereas my origin story is around spiders, the deeper transformation is around being so comfortable with who I am, with being able to get assistance for ADHD instead of being stuck in this narrative of like, I can't get help. I should be able to do this on my own. I was given everything. Why do I feel this way, right? Like those things can be confusing when you feel like you've had a happy life, you've had, these things, and yet, because we're human beings, we have moments of insecurity and sadness and anger and rage, and sometimes I call it like a reverse comparison syndrome, where a lot of times people think comparison syndrome or imposter syndrome is about comparing yourself to somebody you perceive as doing or being better than you and coming up short. But there's this other one where we kind of don't let ourselves really feel or acknowledge the truth of what we might be feeling, because we're comparing ourselves and saying, well, other people have it worse, so I'm not going to let myself, can't feel sorry for me, right?
Guilty of that one. Especially now, too.
Yeah.
I feel like living in Hawaii and doing the things I'm doing, it's like, how dare you feel any of your feelings? You should be so lucky.
Yeah.
I have to challenge those thoughts.
Most things, both things are true, right? I am so lucky and I am so full of gratitude, and also I want more.
Yeah.
That's a big one, I think, for women, to really be able to give themselves permission to lean into and know, like, it is not selfish or wholly self-serving. And even if it is self-serving, gives a shit, because the more like we are like allowed to like access and take care of our needs first, the more we have for everybody else around us.
When it's coming from that intention of being like, abundance is unlimited, I'm allowed, it's our birthright, and I don't have to limit it. And that also comes with the responsibility of service to a larger degree.
Yes. Yeah, completely. And recognizing that, and this is a big important thing, I think, for anybody who has like service as a core value, which we both do, is acknowledging that it's not service at the expense of self, right? Like, one of my most powerful thoughts is I'm at my best for others when I put my needs and priorities first. Yeah. And sometimes like what people get wrong about that is they hear that and then they think like, oh, I'm not going to care about others, or I have to put other people on the back burner. And it doesn't mean like I'm going to blow off everything and then not feed my kids or not like acknowledge my partner, right? It means like, what do I need in this moment to feel amazing? And sometimes the answer is like, okay, I do have to do some stuff with my kids today, or like whatever that is, right? And really giving ourselves permission to not only know that in our heads, but to feel it in our bodies, to embody it. And that's where mind-body connection comes in.
And that came to you after the retreats that you were facilitating with, and then you were having this massive panic attacks from arachnophobia. You got certified when?
I got certified in 2020, and I have never been so glad to have a modality, because literally at that time you had to, in order to start the certification route, you had to do a 4-day kind of intensive, and it had to be in person. And my intensive, I believe, was in February of 2020. It might have been the last thing I did, right before things shut down. And so the rest of the certification you do, online, and it involves, like 50 case studies that you have to dive in and do, working with a certified clinician and trainer, and really going through the techniques and having like a certain amount. It often takes like 2 years. We have about 2 years to do that level of certification. But because of my background, because I already had some clientele too, I was able to do mine in less than a year, because I already kind of had some of those things in place, and the client load and things like that. So then it just became, how do I want to incorporate EFT into my mindset coaching?
Wow, I needed to take a minute, because that was just amazing, and the timing, how it all aligned, right? Like you're getting into the beginning of COVID, world shutting down. You've just accessed this life-changing tool, for yourself, and to be able to still grow a business.
Yes.
So it never really stopped for you, because you can do it virtually.
Yeah, always. Like even when I got out of the military, I knew that when I pivoted to coaching, I wanted to be able to be accessible from anywhere, because not only do I love to travel, but my husband wants to do 30 years, so that's 10 more years left in the military, moving around. And so I wanted to be able to do something that I was able to take this with me.
And how long ago? When did you retire from the?
So I got out. It's only called retiring if you served 20 years.
Oh, right.
Or
okay.
if you're like medically retired. So I served 5 years and then I transitioned out of the military, specifically, to coach. So that was in 2017.
Okay. And is it frowned upon to leave like that? Or
No. I mean,
because I'm new to the military world, being Canadian.
Yeah.
It's just something, but it's so predominant here on this island of Oahu. Most people I meet, at least 50%, 60%, they have either a connection or they have been.
Totally.
And I'm so fresh and I love asking questions.
Yeah, I mean, service is service, right?
Yeah.
And you sign on, I did sign on for 3 years, but then I ended up doing 5 because I loved it and I had planned on career, but then 2 things happened. Number one, I met my husband and we had already done 18 months with him stationed in Washington State and I was in upstate New York. We actually met in Hawaii, dated for 4 months. Then he got stationed in Washington. 3 months later, I got stationed in New York. So we did the rest of our relationship and first 6 months of our marriage with the entire country between us. We never even lived in the same state, the same part of the country until after we'd been married for 6 months.
How was that transition?
That was an interesting transition, especially during COVID when you go from all that space to then, because even after I had gotten out, I was running retreats or traveling. So I was always out of the house a lot.
Yeah.
So it was a learning curve. And I do remember at one point during COVID, we were locked down in the house together because he's a pediatric cardiologist in the Army and there were 3 of them at Tripler. And so they were rotating them all in the office 1 week on, 2 weeks off. And then the 2 weeks off, they'd be working from home. So we were around each other all the time. And for the first time ever, we were getting on each other's nerves and fighting. And I remember looking at him once and being like, did we make a mistake? And he said something that I just love, because I often don't give him the credit for thinking this way or doing mindset work or anything. And he was just like, no, we didn't make a mistake. We just don't know how to do this. And I was like, oh man, you're right.
Yeah.
And then that just shifted, everything into we just get to figure this out. And I think that's such a powerful thing to take into marriage, right? Because COVID or not, when you're thinking, if your belief system is around, I want to be married to, doesn't matter how many people or be in a relationship with any people. But if you want a longevity in that, you have to be open to change and shifts and knowing that you're going to adapt to, okay.
And we're both
do this.
evolving. The version you met and the version now, and how many years later, has had multiple deaths and rebirths. Mm-hmm. And this is an era that I feel continuously, let's talk about it.
Yes.
And marriage is beautiful, but it's hard.
Yes.
To be and choose one person, and there's a new birth happening and you have to choose that person again as this new person, and remember to honor their new person at the same time, because this is not something that is taught or reflected or shown, even in the great families that haven't been divorced or multiple marriages, right? It's no matter what, whatever relationship you're in, friendship or marriage,
yes,
you have to honor and meet people where they're at.
Yes.
Right? We hold on to these expectations of not wanting things to change because this is what we grew up with.
Or I want to go back to something.
I like that. Oh, you just hit on a download. I hung on to that after having my daughter. How many mothers? Up until probably in the last year and a half, I still use the verbiage. I'm going back to that body. There was never a possibility I had a C-section.
Yeah.
Want to be that. I still longed at looking at certain pictures, and I mourned and grieved, and until I acknowledged that that's what was happening.
Yeah.
That I was mourning and grieving, and that I would never go back. But that didn't mean that I couldn't be the most beautiful, empowering, this incredible woman who I am, that was lost.
Yeah.
There was something else birthed, and wisdom, and society and the media just has programmed such, and it still comes at us.
Totally.
And it's okay to acknowledge and say, hey, had a rough body day. right?
Yes, it's not about not. Oh my! I had a fit recently
Yeah.
because I was watching. Gosh, do you remember like Road Rule? It was the challenge on MTV, right? Like, you remember like old school like MTV Real World, and then they started
Yeah.
doing these challenges. So I have not watched this in like 20 years, but they were doing the Eras one, and so we were watching it with two friends, another couple, and a lot of the women on there like have had plastic surgery, and the guys and even the women like could not stop talking about, oh my God, what did they do to their face? And I was just like, you know what? Stop. What people choose to do, they choose to do. And like, I am never going to down anybody for choices to make to feel good. And I remember the other guy saying something like, well, yeah, women are always talking about how they don't like that society tells them to be one way, and then they go ahead and do that. And I just lost my shit and was just like, first of all, let's not mansplain like what this feels like to a woman.
Yeah.
And second of all, like this just highlights the pressure that we're under. Like if we do something for ourselves, then we're seen as, oh, caving to society. What if we just want to do it? I had a breast reduction in 2015. It was the best decision I ever made for myself. But the amount of guilt that did go into that was like, oh my God, are you not appreciating what you have? Or are you just giving in? Are you even a feminist anymore if you are giving in to these societal pressures? But it wasn't societal pressures. I was in physical pain
Quality of your
all of the
life.
time from that. Things wouldn't fit me. That impacted so much. And I think like just a big part of life is like just being able to own our decisions and own multiple truths can be true, right? And maybe the little portion of this is from societal stuff, but okay, that is the society we live in.
Yeah, I always tell myself, I give myself permission. I'm like, right now, no, I don't really want to change anything. But I said, I get to give myself permission at 50 to readdress that. Because I may think, or maybe sooner. And I'm going to be okay with it because I have a choice.
Yes.
And it's my choice.
Yes.
Right? And I am very vigilant on what my thoughts are when I start observing women. I love watching and people watching, sitting at the airport or wherever I am, and just like observing.
Yes.
I love it. I learn so much about myself and others. And I read lots of energy, right? So you can see somebody that did it for approval versus like they just enhanced what they already loved about themselves.
Yes.
Right? Because they've done the work and it's not about anything external. They validated themselves.
Totally.
And did what they wanted. So
Yes.
I love talking about this because we do, even as women, men, judge other people's choices. Why can't we just be accepting and appreciate that we have choices?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, acknowledge, like, we have a choice. You don't have to change anything. You can change. As long as I feel like there's a responsibility to do the work. Because if you want to change, just know it comes with a responsibility for yourself.
Yes.
Right? As long as you're not becoming toxic and to yourself and society. Everything has a responsibility. Like you said, two sides.
Yeah.
Polarities exist at all times in every moment.
And I think understanding the difference between taking responsibility and placing blame. That's what people get confused about because they feel like I have to beat somebody up for something. And unfortunately, often it's themselves, right? And so being able, like, blame looks like, oh, I'm so stupid or that person's so stupid. I shouldn't have done this, which is such an energy drag, right?
Yeah.
You're putting yourself on a hole. Taking responsibility is like, okay, this happened. I made some choices that led me here. What do I know now? Let's do an evaluation based on this experience, right? Because failure, mistakes, things like that, it's just information that we get.
It's a lesson.
Totally. And resilience and growth and evolution lies in like how quickly do we identify that and take that in and then make changes moving forward instead of spiraling out, taking our feelings personally and making them mean like, I'm a failure versus I failed at this thing. Yeah. And all a failure is
it's an opportunity,
information.
Right? It's an opportunity to be observing of like, oh, there was a little bit of a soft spot, a weakness that I or not I mean weakness, but it's like something to observe and acknowledge.
It's something that you had to go through in order to get the information you have now, right? And to actually tie all this back to why we're even here when we were talking about EFT. First of all, like EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, and it's usually called EFT or EFT tapping, and it involves tapping on energy meridian points around the body, which are used in traditional Chinese medicine, most notably like acupuncture and acupressure. And with EFT, the brief science I'll give is when we are tapping on the points in EFT, we're calming the central nervous system while we put our attention on the truth of what we might be thinking or feeling, those truths that we're usually trying to push away and not think about. I'll take care of those later. Those thoughts that we were just like, oh my God, no, we're not giving attention to that today, right? And when we tap on these points, like giving a voice to that truth and combining that with an affirmation of acceptance for who we are and what we're thinking and feeling, that is what allows us to process. That's what allows us to kind of have a shift into new ways of looking at things and new possibilities. And so this acceptance piece is just very big, being able to accept ourselves where we're at. And we don't have to accept the motion or the circumstances. It's no, I'm accepting that I am a human being having this experience, and I'm open to giving myself compassion.
I love how you explain that. We don't have to accept the emotion or the feeling. We just have to accept where we're at.
Yes. And that's what allows the shift. And that's what by tapping on these points, that's what allows us to actually feel what we often just stay in our heads, trying to like beat ourselves into submission, thinking like, no, we need to feel lucky right now. We need to feel this gratitude, right? But like what we often do when we stay in our head doing that is like what our souls feel twisted. Oh, but I'm not actually feeling this, and why? And I feel blocked and I feel guilty about that, instead of just like, okay, no, this is hard to feel. And I'm giving myself permission to be here with myself right now.
Do you find like at moments we think things are going to be hard, and all of a sudden when you just release, it wasn't as hard?
Always. I think of that all of the time. I also think that
this is more recent for me, being like, we were programmed for hard.
Yes.
Everything has to be hard. Life has to be hard. Counseling, therapy, everything has to be hard. And scary.
What if it doesn't? My favorite question to ask myself is, what if this could be easy, or what if this could be simple in whatever context I'm doing?
More recently, I've been starting to say, surprise me, universe.
Yeah. One of my favorite feelings to feel is like pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Like, so when I go into situations that I'm like, oh, this is probably going to be a shit show because I've experienced like, you know, XYZ, but I'm like, but I'm open to being pleasantly surprised. It doesn't have to be that way. And I hear people say all the time, like, oh, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. And then they just stop there. Okay, and like, number one, we do hard things all the time. Number two, like, okay, and what am I going to do about it? And like, and also maybe it doesn't have to be as hard as I'm making it be. Like,
you can choose softer ways and approaches. And techniques, and work the hard. You know, like, work the hard.
Also choose your flavor of hard. You're also in charge of that. And the more you get like in tune with knowing, like, okay, yep, there is this thing and I want to do it, and this is why. Like, being able to connect to your why in that, instead of lamenting how hard something is. And I do think it's important to explore those things when you're setting goals and choosing your flavor of hard, because there's a lot of information there about like, oh, is this actually my dream or is this somebody else's? You know, because we often don't pause and give ourselves permission to explore that. It's just something that we were told growing up, like, you got to be this thing, you got to do that thing, and then we just kind of like pigeonhole ourselves into that because we don't know better.
And it can show up, like, you can have been doing the work for years and you think you're progressing, and like recently, I've shared before, I recently went to write my real estate exam. I failed twice. I saw the opportunity in that because I felt better after I failed, because it gave me permission that I went for it because people were telling me I would be good at it.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that I felt like I knew in my heart. It was like, yeah, I can see myself being good at it. do I really want to do it?
Yes.
I wanted to do this, but I made every excuse in the book to keep pursuing that so I wouldn't have to face the discomfort of putting myself out there in this world. And the universe kept saying, yeah, no. No. I know you can pass this exam, but yeah, no.
Yes.
Sit in this. And it was a really pleasant feeling to fail.
Yeah.
Because the pressure cooker valve went,
Yeah.
I have to tell people I failed because they're going to ask. I have to sit in that discomfort that I was worried more about telling people that I failed than actually passing and wanting to do this as a career.
Yes.
So I knew, I'm like, wow, if that isn't like loud in my face.
Yes.
And my body telling me.
Yes.
It was a beautiful lesson. I really, that was an opportunity to sit in there and be like, there was no failure in that.
Yes.
I got such a download. I got so much connection back to myself. And it made how quickly I pivoted.
Yes. And I think that this is why, for me, EFT has been so profound, because EFT lets you, because we're not implying that even if you know 100% failure is an opportunity and there's information there and it's all okay, it doesn't mean that you don't feel disappointed or discouraged. And EFT allows you to acknowledge and honor like that. Even though I feel discouraged right now, I am still meant for my dreams and here going after it, right? So again, it's that multiple things can be true at once, but unfortunately, what humans often do is like they mistake discomfort, insecurity, discouragement, and self-doubt as reasons to not do something. And the only reason to not do something is to search within your values and know this is not what I want.
Yeah.
I very firmly believe if you're given a dream, like you are meant for your dreams, and it is up to you to fight for your dreams over your limitations.
Yeah. Speaking of dreams, what's your dreams?
I mean, my dreams are to do a TED Talk, and I want my TED Talk to be on. And actually, my short-term goal is to do like the TEDx, because TEDx you apply to those TED Talk, you have to be invited to that main stage. So do
you have to be an author? Have you ever been published? Okay.
No, you don't have to be an author. But speaking of, my other goal is to definitely write a book. And I'm getting closer and closer to both of those. This year, I'm really developing my TED Talk. I'm looking for what TEDx do I want to apply to, or can we bring TEDx back to Hawaii? I know they were in Honolulu before. But really just crafting the talk and looking at those things is where I am right now. And I know that there's something bigger coming. Like, I've been doing this for 5 years and I've just been feeling this pivot, and I am just in this place of letting it come to me versus me forcing it. And yeah, that is an uncomfortable place to be. But I am just allowing myself to be led by creativity right now, because if there's one thing I have, it is just a lot of trust. When like the right thing lands in my lap, I make things happen overnight.
Yeah, I love that, because I think many women I'm talking to right now are sitting in this space. They are sitting in uncertainty because things are not clear. They're in this two worlds of they're shedding and they have this beautiful life and they're appreciating it. They're also birthing and they can't see what that completely is, because I know I feel this. Similar, I love that I draw so many amazing women with similar goals and just dreams. Like same thing, TEDx and writing a book, which we need to talk about. There's a writers' conference in Kauai in November.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah. And I just dropped that because I'm just putting it out there because the universe hears things.
Yep.
And I love this. More women are talking about sitting in this space of, but trust. The space of uncertainty, of wanting two things. Sitting in, the duality of like the knowing and the unknown. Coming from where you came and where you're going. Like, it is a real time in this, time and space in this world right now.
Yes, and like daydreaming is such an important part of this, and so if you're ever like just feeling stuck with like, oh, I don't have the vision, like, okay, great, this is my cue to daydream today. And daydreaming is something that we've been told is we are not supposed to do, right? Like, we're supposed to be serious and have this, and things are supposed to be tangible, and like, you know, even as kids we had that kind of whooped out of us, right? Like, oh, she's a daydreamer, like, gotta bring that in. And I think as an adult, like, the greatest gift that I've given myself is just acknowledging my imagination, and that my daydreams are an important part of this process, letting those things come through.
I love you said that. This was a challenge in bringing it to my daughter this year. I was told that she's struggling. That she was kind of like not ADD, but like maybe a deficit in attention. Like she's out there. We don't know where she is, but she's out there. There's nothing wrong with her ability. She's very smart. I had to really advocate and say, can we give her some time? Like, don't get me wrong. I talked to the doctor, talked to the teacher, very involved, got the tutor, got all the things. But after all of that pressure cooker feeling of needing to fix, coming at the end of the school term, I'm like, why don't we leave her alone for a little bit? She's 8 years old and figuring things out, and I'm 45 years old and figuring things out. And it's a lot. It's okay to say it's a lot. She's dealing with, God knows what in her body's changing. And how much expansion she's had. You know, and coming into her own versus what the programming is telling her to be. And she pushes back. And I love it, and it challenges me at times, and then I'm reminding myself how I want her to, like, what I've envisioned for her. Not to be a yes person. Not to be a woman that just bought the story and said, yeah, you have something wrong with you because your dreams and you're a dreamer.
Or they're too big, or how could you possibly achieve it? Or so many people wish they had that too. What makes you special, right? Like,
I want to share that with mothers.
To say things to their kids or their friends or whatever, right? Like,
we take to heart some of these, and I love and respect teachers, don't get me wrong. They do a very special, sacred work. However, they're humans. They're teaching 20 to 30 kids. Their feedback, take it, be observant, and be curious. But what I learned this year is not the end all or the be all. Know your child.
You're still the subject matter expert on your kid.
Listen to your instincts and intuition, and listen to your child. And it's okay to question. And it's okay. And I had to, by the end of the year, advocate for her and say, hey, can we stop shaming her? Can we stop because she's acting out in a certain way? Can we come on, at this with curiosity and compassion? And say, maybe we're not perfect parents. We battle it out. And she sees us do it, and I'm okay with that, as challenging as it can be. But I want her to know that we are having an experience in life. Your mom and dad don't have a manual we follow. Nobody told us what to do, and we are in real time parenting you as parenting ourselves. And figuring out big moves in our lives, and also being present, enjoying, eating a good diet, movement, and all the things. And being the example. So I really had to respectfully email the teacher by the end of the year and say, thank you for all this feedback. I love and respect that you gave me insight, and I learned a lot about both of us. However, can we stop putting her in a box? Can we stop shaming that mistakes instead of the struggles she has, and look at it with a lens of curiosity, and there's a child and a human here.
I have 3, I'm going to try to make them quick, but 3 points, and I'm going to try to remember all 3. Number 1 is, you said, we're not the perfect parents. I would argue maybe you are. Perfection doesn't have to be like, oh, we are happy and joyful and blah, blah, blah all the time. We're the perfect parents for her because she gets to see our ups and downs and how we navigate them. So that's 1. Number 2, EFT with kids is so phenomenal because kids don't have all the baggage that we have, right? And it's so much kind of easier and much more simple to work with kids. Like, it's just about tapping on that first point, and like, you know, even though I had a bad day at school, I'm still a good kid. And just tapping to the points, like knowing that, right? Like, it's very like kind of simple language, and just really being able to reinforce that as much as possible now, then they're not like growing up with all the stuff we have to get, the weeds that we have to weed through to get to what we do know, what is underneath every I'm unlovable or I'm not good enough thought is the actual truth, which is I absolutely am enough. Given wherever I am today is enough. We just often can't hear that because we live in, and not only do we have our own personal baggage from experiences in the past and whatever we're going, but also like society coming at us. Exactly. And also the third thing is when I think about teachers, therapists, coaches, like just everybody being human in this world and all having our shared things, because this is a very volatile time in the world, or it certainly feels that way, right? Like, and information is coming at us constantly, and we are in a hyper state of overwhelm, like all of us are. And it's like, how much can I pay attention to the news? Can I not? What do I believe? What is true here? You know, and it is all so very overwhelming. And I think about people, especially like teachers who are in kind of these jobs where they're like molding minds of kids too, and we forget like how much they have going on as well, and the pressure that like is placed upon them, and you know, everybody. And that is why it is so important to opt out of the overwhelm and to have whatever practice. For me, it is EFT, and you know, there is a lot of science behind EFT, like clinical research and all of that. And EFT allows you to then bring in other coping skills too, right? But just remembering anything will work if you work it, but that's the responsibility piece. Like, give more time and attention to helping yourself, identifying your priorities, giving yourself time to daydream, having a practice that lets you daydream, because it's going to feel real fucking weird at first, right? It's going to feel very uncomfortable because you're not used to it, and your brain is going to be telling you like you should be doing something else. This isn't going fast enough. Your body is going to be, you know, uncomfortable, like in whatever way that shows up for you, and that is all okay. It is being able to powerfully like sit with, like, I am opting out of the current narrative. And I think for women right now, we have to do this, because nobody is coming to save us but us. It is proven.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to acknowledge, thank you. Thank you for saying I am the perfect parent for her. Mm-hmm. I believe that, you know, with practicing, sometimes we get caught up. Mm-hmm. And I do believe, because what I embody and the values I show her, I am the perfect person. She chose me in this life to guide me and together. Mm-hmm. It's a relationship.
Yeah.
And secondly, yes, how powerful to do EFT with kids. Mm-hmm. I'm like I started daydreaming for a second when you started talking, because the impact we can make on these children's lives to regulate themselves. Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Because literally when I was doing this, I was regulating my inner child. Mm-hmm. So imagine if we can teach them in real time. So I got plans for that, for sure. Yes. I'm excited because it's a tool that's about building tools, building a tool belt, building my daughter's tool belt.
Yes, and anytime she sees you doing something, right? Especially when you do them young, because I do know like teenagers can be harder because they want to do anything you're not doing, right? Yeah. But all you can do is like plant the seeds and like watch them, like have you take care of you, invite them into that with you. And like the younger we do that, I mean, now I don't tend to work with kids. Like there's been a couple times in the last 5 years where I've been asked, and now my rule is only if the parent works with me too. Okay. Because I do have opinions about when like kids are placed in therapy and like parents are not. Like kids receive a message saying, oh, this is my fault. Yeah. I'm the fucked up one in this family unit, right? And so being able for every piece, whatever that means, if it's family therapy, if it's like individual therapy for everybody, but like letting them see you, like, you know, we were having a conversation, I think earlier, just like at our highs, at our lows, without making it mean something about us, right? I talk about this a lot, progress, not prevention. All of this work isn't about preventing having blow-ups or preventing feeling like crap, right? Preventing self-doubt. It is how do we talk to ourselves when those things surface, and how quickly do we navigate them? I mean, those two things are directly related.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. And also, like, you show kids they don't listen to what you tell them. This is real hand. I tell my daughter to do something, it's a hell no. Or she's going to fight it. I show her that I'm doing it and kind of
We're gonna do this
suggest.
together.
Look
Yeah.
She's in. And she wants to take over. And I'm like, we were kids once too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Jess, this is so powerful.
Yes.
This is so powerful. And I love that you're daydreaming, allowing yourself to daydream and see where it takes you, because your impact is meant to be great.
Yes.
All of ours is. It's only us selling ourselves the story that, oh, we can only have this. And
Totally.
it's only us. We are the creators of our own world and universe.
Yeah. And if you don't step into the position of deciding for yourself, somebody else is going to decide for you.
Yeah.
What would you rather?
Yeah. Yeah. And this is why we're doing the things we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, go for it. Do the hard things. Face the fears. And trust me, you grow faster than you think. You're stronger than you are.
I also want to say too, because I do think that like in the world of personal development, do the hard things, be uncomfortable, blah, 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 is so ingrained. And I don't say do the hard things, do the fucking fun things. Be led by creativity. Do what feels fun.
I need to hear that more.
Don't, like, knowing that, allowing yourself to be guided by those things, it doesn't mean that there aren't going to be hard times in that, right? But like, sometimes I watch people break out of this, like, well, I'll call it a corporate box, right? But then they jump into this personal development box and they put themselves in the exact same cage. And I'm like, no, that's not what this is about. This is about what is the feeling that I want to experience in this life? Because that's why we set goals. Whenever anybody comes to me and they're setting like, super tangible goals, my first question is like, okay, why? Let's dig into why. And like, what do you hope to feel in the achievement of that goal? And whatever they tell me, like the other day, I was talking to a friend and she said, I want to feel accomplished. And I said, well, what's stopping you from feeling accomplished right now? Right? When you answer that question, how do I want to feel at the end of this? Okay, I want to feel accomplished. I want to feel happy. How do I start giving myself this in the moment? A, you're going to enjoy the journey a hell of a lot more. B, you might find that goal changes because you might find like, oh shit, this actually isn't mine. This is coming from something outside of me that I thought I had to do. Right? And so just really examining that, yes, we can do hard things. I never want to take that away. I think it's more empowering to be able to acknowledge that. However, I know that the most difficult, the hardest work I've ever done in my life is to have the nervous system that allows me to be led by fun and creativity and being unapologetically who I am. And yes, has it been hard work? Fuck if it hasn't been. Like the most fun and the payoff like along the way in doing that.
I love that reframe. You were like, this session is real life therapy and all the things and girlfriend chat, real talk. Because when you said, fuck all the hard all the time, let's fucking do the fun.
Yes.
My gosh, I blew up because my mindset's been shifting because I went from corporate to addicted to self-help. There's something so wrong with me. Like a 5-year deep dive and what's wrong? Let's go find more wrong. Let's find more wrong. I lost the fun. And in the last year and a half, I have been consciously choosing words saying, what's my word for the year? Playful, curious, exploratory. And what does that mean? That means bring more fun no matter what, even the hard. I'm going to go do a hard workout. How can I have fun? Dress all like wild and crazy. Go buck wild. Get into it. But know that you're not here to beat my body up. I'm not here to beat my mind up. I'm not here to like beat myself to in submission and prove something. And that's another thing. I had to reshape my relationship with proving something. Because it came up often. Why am I still feeling I need to continue to prove something, and where's that coming from? It's you can have the accolades, you can have checked off the whole checklist, and you're done. And I came to that a year and a half. I came to this island in Oahu and realized, wow, I kind of forgot to dream now. I got so busy doing all the things on my checklist and making my dreams that were from before come true. When I sat at a workshop, I was like, I don't know what to dream.
Yeah.
I lost in touch with that playful, curious mind of giving myself permission that I can dream a bigger dream. And it took me a little bit to tap into that. I forgot what that felt like. A bigger dream. How dare you, my brain said.
Yep.
Do you know what you just came off of? A trip around the world?
Yep.
Like, and I was like, yeah, that was no vacation. Like, I loved it.
Yep.
But it took an unraveling of myself to be here. And I want this next season of life to be lit up.
Yes.
And Reignite with Reed is about reigniting all those parts of ourselves that as whatever season you're in, but in me, my midlife awakening is about raw, unfiltered, fun, dance, sensual, movement, expression, and just allowing myself to live in the goosebumps.
Yes. Right. We talked about this right before the camera started rolling. One of my favorite quotes, and I heard this in the beginning of my business, is how you get there is how you'll be there. Meaning, if you're waiting to feel a certain thing or give yourself credit or acknowledge all of that until you arrive at something, you're likely going to miss it.
Yeah.
Think about, how do I want to be on the way? Because if you're happy and joyful now, of course you're going to be that way then.
It's aligning so beautifully. And then just a small example of that for me in my personal life is I loved shopping for wild, beautiful, gorgeous clothes. And it was fine when I worked in the corporate world. But then I went through this season of motherhood. I'd still buy them and I'd put them in my closet. Every so often I'd purge and be like, okay, maybe there's a little addiction under there. We can talk about that later. But what allowed me to remember starting this podcast and the real feeling, I get to do what I love to do.
Yes.
To be the girl that dresses up and wears the stuff in my closet and celebrate, have fun. But then also I use my voice to serve, share, be vulnerable. They can both exist.
Yes.
And I'm having fun.
Yes.
And being nervous and being like, it's asking a lot of me and being like, okay, how am I going to show up today?
Yes.
Compassionately and stepping into entrepreneurship with like knowing you're capable and you're doing it already.
Yeah, 1000%. Always coming back and giving ourselves that credit. I am doing this. I am. How amazing is that? And just really like allowing ourselves to sit in it without the all like, yeah, buts.
My husband said this week twice to me, reminded me, because I was like, I have to do this. And he's like, Reet, you are doing it. And I was like, thank you for that reframe, because he's like, when we do this, I have to do this. When we, and he's like, Reet, you're already doing it. Step by step, one thing. Like, give yourself the acknowledgement and celebrate, have fun.
Yeah, I had that thought even this morning, right? Like, thinking about the things I wanted to accomplish today, and I've got, a couple things on my calendar, and I could feel my brain being like, oh shit, but when am I going to do like X, Y, Z? And I'm like, no, I am doing it. I'm doing it by multiple things today, but like being here on this podcast and like putting these words out into the world, when they get there, that is doing it. And sometimes we get very twisted up about thinking the doing it means it has to be acknowledged by somebody else, when the fact is like 80% of the most important forward momentum building work that we do is stuff that nobody sees. It's the stuff that we do. It's the mindset work, it's the nervous system work, it's how we talk to ourselves and what we do for fun and enjoyment. And one of the things that I say all the time, especially to entrepreneurs, is build a business around your life, not a life around your business. Like, that's why we're entrepreneurs. And another like thought I adopted when I pivoted to entrepreneurship was like, I'm never going to treat myself the way I was treated by, when I was working for somebody else. And my best marketing is being a product of my product. And the more I'm just out there being comfortable in who I am and like showing up in those spaces, that's when like opportunities show up that you might not ever think of when you're very fixated on, I have to make this much money and this many clients and this is what it has to look like. Here's what I want my life to feel like as I pursue this. The details are not up to me.
Oh, Jess, I can sit here for hours and this is going to continue. There's going to
Yeah,
be more.
we'll have a part 2.
Yeah, I was like, there can't be.
Do a series.
Yeah, I'm finding that I'm like, I want to do more series, guys. I want to bring you back. This is just a teaser.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, it feels too good, and I can only imagine like how comfortable in my skin I feel having this conversation. How many women it needs to land on, because waited long enough, but I know the time is now. You know, it doesn't. Yes. I don't have to worry about waiting it long enough. I know it brought me to this time and space, and now this is the time.
Yes.
And if you can give some advice to women out there, you know, in different seasons of this season that we're of, if you're sitting in uncertain, like that in between, the void, the unknown, what advice can you give them? So
I'm laughing at this because because I'm a coach and I was a therapist, people are always asking me, have you read this, personal development book, or you read whatever? I am a huge romantasy reader, and you know about my smutty book club too, my Unninja Smut book club.
I love it.
But I read predominantly fantasy right now, predominantly romantasy written by women. And a quote that I read in one of these books was, it is impossible to be ready for something that you haven't done yet. And so I think that is my piece of advice right now. It is impossible to be ready by something that you haven't done yet. So of course you feel all of these things coming up. You get to decide that you're ready and take the first steps. And if it feels too overwhelming, just remember to pull back. Okay, but what's the step today? Just today. Today's step. One of my favorite questions to ask myself is, what do I need today to set future Jess up for success? And sometimes that answer is, okay, I need to have some time for me to get centered. Sometimes it's nope, I got to write the scary email, or, book the big scary thing.
Yeah.
But this really being able to know, what is it? What do I need to set her up for success? Because it keeps you in the present moment. It keeps you acknowledging, okay, here's what I'm feeling today. Here's where my energy and capacity is at. Here's what I can create. And those building blocks are what get you to the big thing.
And working with you, do you work with men, women, predominantly women, veterans?
No, I work predominantly with women, innovators, leaders, and entrepreneurs, whatever that means to them. And I work in anywhere from 3 session packages up to 6 months. And also I do a lot of free groups as well. The best way to hear about those are to really follow me on my email list, because social media I'm on sometimes, but I have a conflicting relationship with social media. I think it's great for some things.
A lot of us do.
I don't want to play the game, and I also want people to be out there living their lives, and so I show up on social media when it feels easy and fun and is super quick. So the best way is to be on my email list and follow my blog and my YouTube channel, where I do videos you can tap along with and have your own experience.
Okay, and what's your email?
My email is jessjohnsoncoaching@gmail.com. If you have show notes or something I can send.
I'm going to put all of that in the
a lead
show notes.
magnet.
I just like to always give it a little call to action shout out, and make sure that everybody who's resonating with this, they can reach out to you, because you are definitely a powerhouse woman, and we all are. What she also reminds us through this episode, we all are.
Yeah. Every single one of us. Whatever that means to you, you define what that means also. Yeah. Because sometimes I think people think oh, I have to force myself, or it only counts to be a powerhouse woman if I am in front of cameras or having this big presence. But no, it's something you define for yourself. Being a powerhouse woman can be, I am a mother and I love doing these things with my children. It is up to you to define.
The season of life is, I'm a powerhouse woman because I own my nervous system.
Yes, exactly.
Because I'm a boss.
Yes, and I am led by the energy with which I want to be led.
Yes.
Right? Whatever that means to you.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yes, thank you.
This was just a juicy conversation, and it felt so soulful and like a hug for my soul.
Yes.
And I know it will land on where it needs to. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
We'll make sure we put everything in the show notes to access you, and Definitely. I want to work with you more too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.